Presenting an amazing organization.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you have to say so yourself, right? Because you also said awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
It is. Oh, yeah, definitely. If you don't know about Heartlines, and this is the first time you're tuning in, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'd encourage you to go and check out Heartlines on their website. You can go ahead and see all the different initiatives that they are a part of. But today on the show, we're going to be talking about money. We're still talking about money. Consumer financial education is what we're aiming to do here on the show. Lerato, let's kick things off. We're talking about banking and services and all the different things that go into managing your money. We spoke about credit. We spoke about savings. We spoke about budget. We spoke about a mouthful, actually.
Right.
So many different things. But if we want to kick things off today, can we answer a simple question?
Yes.
Maybe it's simple. Maybe it isn't. We used to get pocket money. Well, I used to get pocket money. It used to be cash.
Right.
My form of a bank was my mattress. I'd put my money under my mattress.
Yeah,
right? And it's secure, it's safe. But the question is, why do we need banks then?
Banks, Dylan, are for people that want to save their money, they want to borrow money, and they want to invest their money. And banks offer different services that can help you into your journey to your financial wellness. We've spoken, you said it earlier on, we've spoken a mouthful about your journey to financial wellness. And knowing and understanding the services that banks offer is another way of going onto your way into your financial wellness, because there are some other services that the bank offer that will help you to be well on your way into the financial wellness state.
Yeah, and it's understanding as well that banks are there for you. They're for us to help us.
Definitely. Yeah. I think we did touch on that last week, that a lot of us have this negative relationship with the bank because we don't understand some of the services fully. What banks, what do they mean? Or maybe sometimes the language is difficult because we don't understand. And sometimes it's because we don't ask questions. That's why we have this negative the relationship with the bank. But in truth, banks are there to help us. Banks are there to take a journey with us. To get us to a place where we are financially well and financially knowledgeable
as well. And that's what we're aiming to do as well with what we've been talking about the past 9 episodes. It's just to inform people. You've done extensive research, you as well as Nedbank working alongside Heartlines to have this material and this content that you guys sort of go out into communities and you teach these things. We just doing it in a different environment, but we're trying to get the same message across at the end of the day.
Definitely.
It's very important for this education. And you mentioned the services of a bank. I think let's maybe run through some of the different services that a bank offers just to put those on the table so everyone is aware of them as well.
So banks offer financial planning. We did speak about financial planning on our very first episode when we were talking about financial health. So financial planning, banks are able to help you evaluate your current financial situation, and they're able to show you this is what you can afford currently, this is what you cannot afford currently, and this is how you can save or invest your money. So banks are able to do that. If you go to them and inquire, obviously they will not, the banks will not budge into your private space and tell you this until you inquire about that. So they will take you through the journey of financial planning. And then another one is we need to go to banks and inquire. I cannot say this more than enough because it's important. A lot of us go to the bank, Dylan, in a hurry. When we are in a hurry, we want to do what we want to do and just leave the bank. But it's important that when you go to a bank, give yourself time so that you can ask questions. You can make sure that by the time you leave the bank, at least you understand how you are being charged, what are the interests for, what account, is this account suitable for you and your finances. So it's important that we inquire. Another one and that we touched a little bit on is wills, and in fact this week it's a will it's a will week. So if you don't have a will, it's a week where you can actually get your will done.
Okay.
One of the mistakes that we do is that we don't think about wills, and then we find ourselves in trouble, or families find themselves in trouble, because then they are fighting for the assets of the of the deceased.
Yeah.
So if you have children, if you have acquired things, it doesn't matter how small you think they are, because if it's something that is going to get your family to quarrel, then it's worth writing a will for.
Yeah.
So go to a bank. Ask them how to write down a will, what you need to do, so that when you are gone, your family is able to handle your assets when you are no more. So it's very important, Dylan, that people don't look at. So one of the mistakes that people do is that they would look at what they have and look down upon it and think it's not much.
Right.
But the truth is it is much if it's going to cause families to fight.
Yeah.
And then another thing that banks offer is a financial education, like we are doing right now. So they'll be able to assist you on understanding a budget. How do you do a budget that works for you? They will help you understand how different accounts work, and they'll basically teach you on financial education. They'll give you financial literacy.
Yeah.
So it's important, once again, that when you go to a bank, give yourself time. Don't be in a hurry. Ask them to help you write a will. Ask them how different accounts work, so that you can be well on your way to your financial wellness.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's also just about asking questions. If you're confused about something, the bank is one for you, and they're going to guide you as well. I mean, and they know what they're talking about and all those different things. It's the profession that they do, so they're very familiar with stewarding your money well and those type of things. And last week we sort of touched on, when we were speaking about credit, and how there's always that negative aspect attained to credit, and how credit always has a bad name, but there's a positive side.
Right.
So I'd encourage you, if you haven't watched that episode, it's episode 8. I'd encourage you to go and watch that. It's a very insightful one, and I think it's a topic that many people can confuse. They don't really understand credit.
Yeah.
When we think about banks and the times that we're in, and all the different things that people are going through when it comes to money, and also highlighting wills, I think people have really understood how important it is to have a will, and raising awareness for that in this week is what they're doing as well.
Yeah.
What are the different types of accounts that people can get at banks, and if we think about services and those things?
There are different accounts. So there are accounts where there's a transactional accounts. So transactional accounts would be your day-to-day accounts, where this is where you get paid. This is where your debit orders, get paid out. And then you also have, like, within the transactional accounts, there are different accounts again. So that's important for us to understand. There is a checking account, and a checking account is different from a savings account. So the checking account, on the other hand, you've got an overdraft. Most of the time in checking account, you've got an overdraft. Okay. So overdraft can get you confused. So it's important, once again, to ask questions. So let me give you an example. Say, for instance, you get your money every month, and then the bank says, okay, we'll give you an overdraft of about 4,000. So you got paid your 2,500 in your account, and then you see the balance on when you are after withdrawing some money, and it says 6,450, and you think you've got 450, but in fact you actually have 2,450, because the 4,000 is the overdraft. So it's important that you ask those questions. And the services, the service charges from checking account and a savings account are different.
Right.
That is something, and they differ from bank to bank. So that's important that you sit down and you understand that if I'm paying for a service fee with a checking account, what are those service fees? How much is it?
Yeah.
So for instance, in checking account, if you have a bounced debit order, the charges can be a bit higher than if they bounced in a savings account. And then another difference would be for savings account, you might be charged for every transaction that goes out, whereas in checking account, you could be, there's only one standard fee that you pay. So it's different. Once again, it's different from bank to bank. It's different from account to account. So it's important that we ask. And there's also this new one, which is Mobi Money. Mobi Money, some people, they call it it's cell phone banking, cell phone banking, and it's different once again from bank to bank. So what happens is you receive your money, or people that owe you will pay money into your phone, and then you'll be able to withdraw money from an ATM using the 10 digits numbers on there. Or if you want to pay someone, you can send them through that. Or if you want to go without handling your card. Sometimes you forget your card at home. Yes,
yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen a lot. You forget your wallet and you realize, oh, I need to buy something. You can quickly transfer money to yourself, and then you can withdraw the money. So, which is, this is a new way of banking.
Way,
yeah, it's a smart way. And then there's also lending accounts. And there's also investment accounts and insurance accounts. These are different accounts that you can find in a bank. Once again, each one of them is different. Each one of them is unique. When you go to a bank, don't think that they are the same, or assume that they are the same from a bank that you used before. It's important that you ask questions and make sure that you understand what the service fee or interest that goes with a particular account.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think this is what we're doing as well. We're sort of highlighting these different things, and then people can sort of understand when they go to a bank that they know more or less when the bank is saying a lending account or transactional account, that they're not sort of lost for words and don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like something that I'm not that familiar with, maybe, I don't know, if you think about lending accounts, do you maybe mean like loans and stuff? Is that
so lending accounts would be your loans, your personal loans. There are different ones. So there are personal loans, there are home loans, there are vehicle finance, there are credit cards, or that overdraft that I was talking about earlier on. So all those are lending accounts. So this is money that you borrow from a bank, and then with the agreement that you will pay them later on. Just as I was talking about that, let me just cover all of them. Then there's the transactional account that I was telling you about. There's transmission account, there's a checking account, there's a savings account, and also the Mobi Money account.
Yes.
So those ones are also different. So which is important that people understand the difference and they ask the right questions for those. So these accounts, the transactional accounts, are your day-to-day accounts where your salary can go into the account, and then you'll be paying your debit order or paying people through those accounts.
Okay.
And then you've got, do you want me to just continue with that?
With the savings accounts?
No, with the different types of accounts.
I think so. I think let's highlight a bit more, because it'd also be nice, as much as we're saying we should ask questions when going to a bank, I always like to know more or less what's going on. So at least when they start saying things, you're not lost for words. So I think, let's maybe unpack, as we're going throughout this episode, let's maybe just unpack a bit more those different accounts.
Okay. And then there's the savings accounts. So there are different kinds of savings account. So we need to understand that there's a savings account, which we call savings account, but in the fact is actually a transactional account. Most of us, they'll ask you it's a savings or credit check account.
Check or savings.
Check or savings. Yeah, they normally ask you. So, and you'd say savings. So that savings account is not necessarily like an investment or save for the future kind of account, but it's actually a transactional account.
Right.
So right now I'm talking about saving for the future kind of account.
Okay.
And there is fixed deposit account. So the fixed deposit account is when you put money into an account and you put it there for a fixed amount of time. So you could be like, I want to put this money for the next 3 years. I don't want to touch it. And you would leave it in the account for that long. Okay. And then we also have the notice accounts. So the notice accounts is those accounts that, different accounts. There's a 32 days notice account. There's 90 days notice account, there's 180 notice account. There are different kinds of notice accounts. So what that means is that you would put money into that account. So you don't necessarily put a fixed amount in there. You can actually keep adding money into that account.
Okay.
And then the day you know that you would want the money, you need to give yourself a 32-day period. So if you want your money, say for this month, so today is the 16th.
Yes.
So, and you know that you'll need your money next month. You need to put your notice today so that in the next 32 days, you can then get your money.
Yeah.
So now, one of the most important things that people must understand is that if you go to the bank, you have a 32 days notice account, and then you decide, no, I need the money immediately. You get penalized, unfortunately. So the interest that you could have earned on the 32 notice account could, you might not even see it because of you are going to be penalized for wanting your money immediately. Whereas you should.
I remember a while ago, we was a few episodes. I can't remember exactly which one, but we were talking about this as well, where you put money away. But we were talking about interest, and if you request it, then you're going to be penalized for that because you need to fill up that period.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to realize as well, you need to be sure about it. If you transfer money, I'm sure it can happen by accident as well. You sort of transfer to the wrong account, what have you. But then to know for the next 32 days that money is now locked away. You don't want to get penalized on it. You don't want to get access to it for the next 32 days.
Right. So and 32 days can happen at any time. It doesn't necessarily mean that you put your money today. So what it means is that if you want your money, you need to give the bank the notice. Then from the day that you gave the notice, you will count the 32 days or the 180 days. And then what we also need to realize is the longer the notice, the more the interest. That's basically how money works. So you can't want the same percentage interest in the 32 account versus the 180 notice account.
Yes,
so those are different. So the longer your money stays in the account, the more interest you make.
Right.
Another one. It's the unit trust. So unit trust is also where different people come and then they put money or they buy shares together. So it's also different, but it's where people buy shares or they put money together for a very long time, and then they then get the money or they eat out of the interest.
Yeah.
So it's a long-term investment.
Yeah,
we've got the unit trust.
We've got another question coming in asking about 32-day account.
Yes.
Any idea what type of interest you get on an account like that? Like off the top of your head? Or is that something that you sort of, obviously it varies.
It varies, yes. I'm not too sure about the exact percentage that you can get.
Okay.
But also we need to understand that the percentage of or the interest that you'll get is also based on the amount of money that is in your account. So at this current time, I cannot tell you that you'll be getting 5.5 percentage or interest in your account.
Yeah.
But what you need to know is that your interest is also going to be based on the money that is in your account. So
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm sorry I couldn't give you the exact percentage number, but yeah. And then there's the endowment policies, which are your life your life covers, where you can do your life covers so that when you are no more, your family can. So those are also some of the investments, some ways of investment and savings for your family and for yourself. And then the last one is the retirement annuity that we spoke a lot about.
Yes.
So you start the sooner you start getting or paying your retirement annuity, the better.
The better, yeah. Something that maybe many people aren't familiar with when you think about insurance, you think about insurance companies, right? There's many of them out there, and you get a phone call from them almost every second day.
True.
Especially if you buy a new car, they're everywhere. But people don't actually know that banks also offer insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banks do offer insurance as well. They do offer life cover insurance. They do offer the retirement annuity.
Yeah.
So also, once again, go in there, ask. And then one of the things that I've realized or like just paid attention to is that people look at their income and decide that they cannot afford a life cover. Because when we think life cover, we think of millions.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, that is the perceptive.
And that is a wrong perception, because not all of us can afford the millions. But there is a life cover that can cover each one of us. So you need to go to the bank and find out what what cover is good for you, is good for your money as well. Yeah. So go to the bank and find out, and then also find out what kind of a retirement plan is suitable for you and for your pocket.
Yeah. So when you think about insurance, there's short-term insurance, motor vehicle insurance. Everyone needs that. Travel insurance, sort of if things go south when you're overseas.
Yeah.
Property, household, and house content insurance, which actually is quite important to have.
Yeah.
Should something happen, someone gets into your house that shouldn't be there, takes a few items. It's
and
very
we've seen this past year and a half, almost 2 years now, we've seen the importance of insurance.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
COVID is one of it, and the looting as well.
Yes, unfortunately so.
We've seen the importance of it. So it's important that when you've got property, and you'll be so amazed how home insurance is so cheap. It's not very, very expensive as we would perceive, or but go find out. How can you insure your assets? How can you insure what you have, so that when those emergency times come, you are covered and you can be able to afford, to recover from whatever disaster that may have come.
May have happened. Yeah. I think we've also got someone that's very active here in the comments section, Keegan Agonia. I hope I'm pronouncing your surname right. He's speaking a bit about. It's a misconception as well. Actually, his last sentence in this last comment, he says, "You will never save yourself into freedom." I think that we did mention that when we were talking about the importance of savings.
Yeah.
And if you understand the importance of money, I think for one, you're not. The goal isn't to save of things that you need to do, but we also spoke about investing, making sure that your money is going to the right place, that it can grow interest, that it can build up, and those type of things. So thank you so much, Keegan, for watching as well as getting in touch with us. And we've got also moving along, as we've got a few more minutes left. Don't worry about that. We've got wrapping up everything. It's a lot we spoke about. It's a big task to put it all together.
It has been, yeah.
Let's maybe highlight some of the details that people need to pay attention to when they, open up a bank account. You spoke about checks, savings, transactional, all these different accounts. I think let's maybe just highlight a few of the details that people need to make sure they're choosing the right bank account for them as well.
Yeah. So when you go to a bank, you need to understand and know what type of an account you are opening. Is it a day-to-day transactional account? Is it an investment account that you need? So, which is why it's important before you go. I always say this, before you go to the bank, write down some possible questions, because when you get to the bank, there's too much pressure. Sometimes you feel like you need to hurry up and get going. But if you write down your questions, you'll be able to understand and get the question answered. So understand what type of an account that you want. What is the name of the account? So, and then what services are available within that account? Because there are other accounts that you open an account and that account comes with a funeral cover. So you need to know that. But if you don't ask questions, if you don't know these things, you wouldn't know. Yeah. And then what are the monthly fees? There's been a lot of times when I've heard someone says, the bank took my money and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Or somebody has sent me 200 and I tried to withdraw 200, it gave me 155.
Why did I only get 155 and full 200? Yeah.
Right, because we don't understand the monthly fees of a bank. So transactional fees. What are the transactional fees? Every time you buy, do you get charged? How much do you get charged? Every time you buy a time, and this is another one that we are not aware of. A lot of us buy a time via phone and we are not aware of the transactional fees that goes with that. So what are those transactional fees that, when you swipe, how much are you paying for that? If there is a fee that goes with that, is there any other way that you can do your transactions without the fees going out? Is there any, find different ways of saving money, because also us not understanding these transactional fees or monthly fees, we then find ourselves carelessly spending money that we shouldn't be spending, because there are other ways that we can save these transactional fees, but we don't know about them. So it's important to find, okay, if I don't want to spend money for withdrawing money at an ATM, how else can I withdraw money without being charged from an ATM? So those are some of the things that are there at the bank for you, and they are willing, and they will be so very happy to answer those questions for you.
So just ask the right questions as well. If you don't have any questions to ask, well then just trust in their guidance and ask them about it as well. And something that we also, as we begin to wrap everything up, people, if anyone wants to know more, first of all, we'll get to Heartlines and all of that. Anything further in their literacy when it comes to financial literacy and those type of things. I know Heartlines, you guys are very active in communities, and we really commend you on that. And that's why we as Impact Online were so happy to partner with you and do this program, because we're also able to use our platform to inform people and make sure they understand how to use their money properly, how to budget. We spoke about savings, we spoke about credit, we spoke about many things. It felt like just yesterday we started the first episode. But as we're coming to an end of the series, fortunately, as well as the end of this episode, is there any other information? If I give you the next 2 minutes, and you can think right now, these are the things that people need to take home. If you need to grab a pen and paper, write it down right now, as we wrap it up.
Okay, so it's important that we need to align our values with our finances, because if we don't align our values with our finances, then we'll find ourselves in a lot of financial trouble. We spoke a lot about maintaining financial health. What does maintaining financial health need you to do? You need to be disciplined. You need to follow through with a disciplined value. You need to be disciplined and follow through your financial plan, because if you don't follow through, then you will find yourself in the same financial state that you are still in right now. So if discipline will help you. And then when it comes to budgeting, the next topic that we spoke about was budgeting. So budgeting, you will need to be what's the word I'm looking for? Determined. Determined. You need to see the future from your budgeting, because budgeting is like you are drawing a path for yourself, because you are trying to get to some place. So you need to be determined to go there. And then the next topic that we spoke about is saving. When it comes to saving, you definitely need to have self-control. If you don't have self-control, then you will find yourself using the money that you saved for things that you didn't save it for. So you need to apply self-control when it comes to your saving. And in credit, you need to use wisdom. We've read the scriptures about that as well, that it's important that when you borrow money, credit, use wisdom. You need to ask yourself questions. Sometimes difficult questions and uncomfortable questions. Will I be able to pay this if I take the credit? So it's important that you ask yourself these questions. And I think as I close, Dylan, I just want to read the scripture from Proverbs 13 verse 11. It says, dishonest money dwindles away or reduces or decreases away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. So this is your chance. This is your opportunity as a viewer, as a listener, to grow your money. You don't have, like I said before, you don't have to have millions in your account or thousands in your account. If you've got a 10 rands in your account, that's good enough. Start building your future from that 10 rands. With that being said, you can continue the conversation with us on our WhatsApp It's 078-485-4838. It's 078-485-4838. Also, you can go onto the website and download a booklet. This booklet will give you a guideline, will also help you to draw up your budget, and you can also read up on different banking services that I've spoken about. There may be some things that I didn't mention, but the booklet has them. You can go on to www.netbank.co.za.
Great stuff. Yo, it's a mouthful that we've gone through, but it's been a great journey. It's been absolutely awesome sharing this story with you. Consumer financial education, which ultimately is taking knowledge and skills and implementing into our lives. That's basically what it is, you know? So we've run through all of this great content, very important things that we need to place in our life. But now it comes up to the point where what you're listening to and what you've heard, you need to place it in some means in your life that you're able to use it and implement it, is what I'm trying to say as well. Making sure that it becomes
big.
There we go. It becomes practical in your life. It's very important. Lerato Jaxa from Heartlines.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for the final episode. It's been great. Really enjoyed it with you. And I trust that, everything just continues going up for you at Heartlines and that you guys continue touching people.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate that.
It's been a great journey.
Great. With that being said, from myself, Dylan Hartland, here at Impact Online, it's been fabulous with you. Remember, you can catch us every Tuesday from 6 right up until 6:30 on The Lounge Show. We kicked it off on Tuesday with myself, Dylan, as well as Khosiran Komise and Tondi Rambani. It's a fabulous show. It's a very chilled, laid-back show where we kick back, relax, and we just chat. We talk about relevant issues and relevant things, and we kicked off the first episode. If you haven't seen it, I'd encourage you to go and watch it. I'd encourage you to share the link to those that you love because they might also enjoy it. We spoke about imposter syndrome, something that is very critical in today's age and something that I think is an ongoing battle. But that being said, for this episode and this show, CFE, it's a goodbye. Have yourself a blessed week further.